So we all talk about getting into states of deep focus, right? Those moments of incredible well-being where everything just clicks. But what if I told you there was an ancient, systematic science for that? A detailed map, really. Well, today we're going to go way beyond what you might think of as flow and dive into exactly that.
You know that feeling, that almost magical state where you're so absorbed in what you're doing that time just kind of melts away? Athletes call it being in the zone, coders and artists call it a flow state. It's that peak experience, and we're all chasing it in one way or another. And hey, this isn't just some vague feeling we talk about anymore. Science is getting seriously interested. Researchers are now actively trying to figure out what exactly is happening inside our brains during these incredible moments of peak performance and genuine happiness. Yeah, scientists are digging into everything from the actual neurochemistry of what makes us happy to, get this, the really complex brainwave patterns of these advanced meditative states. They're trying to decode the mechanics of what makes these experiences so powerful. But here's the wild part. An ancient tradition already mapped this entire inner landscape thousands of years ago, and with stunning precision. It's a system for training the mind, and it's called jhana. You can think of it as the original high-definition blueprint for achieving states of focus and bliss that go way, way beyond a typical flow state.
So here's what we're going to cover in this explainer. First, we'll see how this goes beyond basic mindfulness. Then we'll get into what jhana actually is. We'll break down its 4 distinct stages, and then we'll tackle the big question. What's the whole point of this practice anyway?
All right, first up, what in the world is jhana? Well, let's call it the art of unifying your mind. So the textbook definition is that it's an advanced state of meditative absorption. It's got deep concentration, a real sense of peace, but this last part is the key. It's the complete and, yeah, temporary suspension of all our usual mental baggage, or what are called the hindrances. You know, the best analogy I've heard is to think of it like tuning an old analog radio. Our minds most of the time are just filled with static, right? Distractions, worries, cravings, it's just noise. The practice of jhana is the skill of turning that dial, filtering out all the static until you're left with a perfectly clear, strong signal. And this is where it gets really practical. Look at this. On the left, you have the static, the 5 big things that mess with our clarity. And these are universal, right? Wanting things, being annoyed, feeling tired and lazy, being anxious, or just feeling totally uncertain. But then on the right, you have the exact tools, the jhana factors, that you actively develop to counter them. This isn't about just sitting there hoping things quiet down. It's an active process of replacing the noise with these powerful, positive mental states. Now, to get a feel for how subtle this is, check out this beautiful explanation for the first 2 tools. The old texts say that applied thought, or vitakka, is like the moment you actually strike a bell. It's the action of putting your mind on something. But sustained thought, vigara, is like the ringing that comes after the strike. It's the mind staying with it, vibrating with it, exploring it. One starts the process, the other keeps it going. Okay, so now that we have the tools, let's see how they build on each other. Because jhana isn't just one thing. It's a journey through 4 very distinct levels of absorption. A journey of real mental refinement. Let's walk through it. In the first jhana, you've got all 5 tools working, and it creates this amazing feeling of rapture and happiness. Now, to get to the second jhana, the mind gets so settled that the effort of applying and sustaining your focus just falls away. You're left with a more seamless bliss. For the third jhana, even that energetic buzz of rapture fades, leaving behind a much calmer, deeper happiness. And then, for the fourth jhana, you even let go of that happiness, and what's left is this state of pure, rock-solid equanimity. So the key thing to get here is that this whole process is a systematic letting go. With every single step, you're abandoning a coarser part of your experience for something way more subtle and refined. You're moving from a busy mind to deep, deep stillness, and each stage just uncovers another layer of clarity. And this brings us to a really, really interesting question. I mean, what's the ultimate point of developing these incredibly powerful, blissful states? Is jhana just a tool you use, or is it something much more than that? This is actually a huge debate within the tradition. Is the whole point of jhana to get your mind super sharp and stable, like sharpening a knife, so you can then do the real work of gaining wisdom? Or could it be that being in the state of jhana is a form of wisdom itself? And this table lays it out perfectly. You've got 2 main schools of thought. The later view generally says jhana is an amazing tool. It creates the perfect mental lab for wisdom to pop up. But a view that looks at the earliest texts suggests something much more direct. It says that the very experience of having a mind totally free from that mental static, well, that is wisdom in action. The clarity isn't just for insight, it is insight.
You know, this all goes back to the Buddha's own story. He spent years trying these extreme, painful practices, and they got him nowhere. His big aha moment came when he remembered this effortless, joyful state he'd experienced as a kid, the first jhana. He realized that this specific kind of pure pleasure, the kind that comes from a clear mind, wasn't a distraction. It was the path.
And that is such a critical takeaway. The goal here is not to just bliss out and check out from the world. No way. The goal is to make your mind so stable and so clear, so free from the fog of craving and aversion, that you can finally see the world and yourself as it actually is, without all your usual filters. It's like the ultimate reality check. So, I want to leave you with this thought. We live in a world that often tells us we have to struggle and grind to achieve anything worthwhile. But this ancient practice offers a pretty radical alternative, that a very specific, cultivated kind of deep joy is a direct path to wisdom. And it makes you wonder, right? What if our whole modern pursuit of happiness is missing the point? What if the kind of happiness that matters isn't just about feeling good, but about the kind that actually sets you free?